So I've seen people talking about the 9 by 12 postcards where you get multiple businesses on a postcard, and the claim is that you can make anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 per month. Now, I run a print marketing company. I've been in this industry for a long time, and I've actually done one of these postcards. I've actually done several campaigns this year, and I want to tell you a little bit about my experience and what I have actually seen as far as what's possible, what's actually possible, and how much money can you actually make with a postcard. So I started working on my first campaign in December of 2024. And then in January, I really got things rolling. I had a lot of interest and it snowballed, and I got a lot of people on the card pretty quickly. And so I was definitely going to move forward with it. Now in this column, you can see this is the ad fee. This is the actual revenue I charged. So I did give discounts to certain businesses, some of my friends, people that I knew. And since this was my first card, I was giving people deals to get on the card where I could. I didn't want to overdo that, but you know, it is what it is. After expenses, I made about $1,500, almost $1,600 on this card. And this is just kind of an estimate. It's not an exact amount, but that's about what I made on my February campaign. So I call it the February campaign because that's when the card actually got mailed out. So my next campaign, my March campaign, I did a little bit better. I probably had some additional spots filled that weren't on the first card, and I wasn't giving the discounts that I had previously done. In April, let's see here, let's focus it just on April. I did a little bit less than I did in March, and it was, you know, kind of same thing where I had some discounts. I had some open spots that I was not billing anybody for. I actually put some of my own stuff on there to kind of test some things as well. And so I made about $1,800 on that one. So that was my third campaign. On the fourth campaign, I did a lot lower. And the reason is, so for this campaign, I learned that I had competition in the area, and I was actually getting people asking me why I was charging more. So this is one of the first things that I'll point out is these guys that are telling you that you can make all this money doing these postcards. I think it heavily depends on the market that you're in, and it also depends on if you have other competition out there that are also, you know, trying to do the same thing. And competition's not necessarily bad, but I had some competition and they were actually undercutting my price quite a bit. So I'm not sure why they started out lower, because I'll be honest with you, when you're working with 16 businesses to help them with their ads and put stuff out and have to invoice everybody separately and just have to manage all that, it's some work. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a little bit of work. And to only walk away with, $900 to $1,000, this is almost not worth it to me personally, but I've actually had fun doing it. So to me, it's not 100% about the money at this point. It's about that I'm able to help some local businesses and I'm building relationships. So I'm a little less concerned about the money, but I'm not making as much. My most recent campaign, same deal. I think I did a little bit better than this. I don't know if I've got some issues with my numbers there, but again, right around $1,000. And that's because my prices are much lower than they were when I originally started out. Now on the upside, it's easier to get businesses on the postcard when you have these lower price points, but you're not going to make as much money. So ultimately, can you make $5,000 to $10,000 a month doing these 9 by 12 postcards? With one postcard, you're probably not going to make $5,000. If you're in a good market and you can charge a higher amount for each ad spot, then yeah, you have the potential to make maybe somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 on a single postcard. If you really can, charge high prices, maybe you can hit 5,000 or better with one card. But you're probably going to need to have multiple postcards in order to hit those high numbers. And I mean, ultimately, this has been a really good thing for my business. It's helped to bring in some extra revenue. But my business, I run a print marketing company and I sell business cards and postcards. and folders and other things to my clients. And so this is something that has added to that revenue, and it's definitely brought in, some additional income in the business and helped out that way. But part of the reason that I'm doing this is I decided I wanted to get more involved with my local community. Most of my business has been online over the years, and I don't have the interaction with businesses. I don't have that interaction with my local community. And this is a way for me to actually, in a way, to give back a little bit, because for a single business to do a postcard like this, by the way, this campaign that I was doing, I was mailing to around 5,000. It's actually closer to 4,900 per campaign, but around 5,000 residential addresses this campaign went out to, or each of these have. And so, for a single business to do a campaign like this, even if they had a slightly smaller postcard, they're still going to spend easy over $1,000 to a few $1,000s, depending on, the size of the postcard and how many addresses they actually want to do a mailing to. And the reality is most businesses don't know how to do this without going and getting some help anyway. And so this is a way for me to get out in my local community and help some of these small businesses. Some of these businesses are actually really, really small, like mom and pop type stores. It's your mom and pop shops, and your solopreneurs, your people who are just running a business out of their home even. So this has been really cool to offer such low pricing and be able to let these people get in front of a lot of people that could potentially become customers. So at the end of the day, just to answer the question, I don't think it's possible. I think that people who are telling you that you can make $5,000 to $10,000 with a 9x12 postcard, specifically if they're saying one card, I would really question that, because it's going to depend on your market. And I guess the other thing is, are they talking about gross or net revenue? Because my gross revenue has come close to $5,000 on one or two campaigns. Let me just double check that. I think the closest, I did have one campaign that did $4,600 in total revenue, and that was my highest one, but that was the gross. And you have to understand there's still costs involved. You still have to pay for the printing. You have to pay for the mailing. The mailing is the more expensive part. The printing actually isn't too bad. And so then I come to my next question. I've seen people who are charging a lot of money to do this stuff for you. I think the highest charge that I've seen for somebody to handle your printing and your mailing was like $4,000. And I am baffled by that. I don't know how you could run a business doing this and helping these clients in your local area to do a postcard campaign like this and spend that kind of money. Like, you'd have to charge a lot to each client to get them on. And again, if your market allows you to do that, then sure, it's totally possible. But full disclosure, you should be able to go work with printers. And I mean, there's companies that'll do printing and mailing. If you want to figure out the mailing, you can do that yourself. But you can go find other printers that can do your, this printing for you and do a really good job. And you can get it a lot cheaper. Truthfully, you can do this yourself and go to a printer, work with a good printer, and do the mailing yourself. Or again, if you can find somebody who will do that for you, and your costs should not be higher than probably around, I would say conservatively $2,400-$2,500 to do a mailing to 5,000 addresses. If you're paying more than about $2,500, then you might want to rethink things, because every penny you pay, is taking away from your profit. And so the goal here is, obviously you want to help businesses, but you're also trying to make some money. And if you want this to be worthwhile and you don't want to rip people off, then make sure you're getting some good pricing, and that your mailing services are not costing an arm and a leg as well. So that's kind of my rundown. I hope this is helpful. I'm working on more content so that I can share more about how I do things, and just how I run my print marketing business. And there's more to come. And I hope this is helpful. I hope this is something that gets you thinking. There is money to be made in print marketing. You just have to have the right strategy. And I don't think that running just one postcard campaign is going to be the answer, other than maybe for a side hustle if you're wanting to do that. And at the end of the day, there is the side of it where you're actually helping your community, and that's a good thing too. So, depending on how you look at it. But anyway, I hope that's helpful, and I'll work hard to get more content out as fast as I can. But in the meantime, just keep this in mind if you're looking into doing the 9 by 12 postcards. Take care. Bye.